are a couple of little faggots picking fights.
Hey, you're harassing me! You're harassing me! It's like perfect outdoor conversation weather right now.
What's up, Lee?
Stop having kids?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so white people, and just let me speak for a moment. You have the big signs.
I wasn't interrupting you.
Oh, no, I am. White people in traditionally white countries, so Western Europe, the United States, Canada, are not having babies at what they call reproduction level. That's just science. That's not my opinion, right? You have kids at reproduction level. I think it's like 2.1 or something like that. White countries throughout all Western Europe and U.S., what they call the West, are having kids. You know, from country to country it's different, but it's all below 2. It's like 1.7, 1.9, blah blah blah. So that's not a sign for white folks. If that's a sign for anyone, I'm not saying about what you intend. I'm saying if that's a legitimate sign for anyone, that's a sign for the more, what you call the more fecund races. You know, I don't mean to sound condescending. You know the word fecund, right? A race that has more babies, right? That's a sign for the races that have more babies. In the Americas, it's the Hispanics. Over in Europe, it's the Muslims and the Africans that are flowing into Western Europe and having a lot more babies than the traditional blonde-haired Germans and Swedes. So, so you're putting that, you're telling with that sign, whether you're coming up from that angle or not, that signs for non-whites, blacks and Hispanics.
Well, it's not. No, I'm not a eugenicist. This sign is for everybody, no matter your age, your gender, your skin color, your financial status, your intelligence level. It's for everyone. It's for humans across the board.
Except, how is it for everyone if whites, for a host of reasons, a long discussion, but if whites have already read this sign, so to speak, they've already taken this deep to heart, because in all the traditionally white countries, they're not having kids at replacement level. It's not happening.
Well, I don't care about, I'm not concerned about that. I just want
Well, how are you not concerned about that if you're holding that sign?
I want as few people as possible to have kids, no matter what you want to say about replacement level.
It's not what I want to say.
Right. Well, I don't think there's ever a good justification to force someone into the world.
Is what now?
I don't think there's ever a sound or ethical justification to force somebody else into the world.
Force somebody else into the world?
Yes, when we are born into the world, we are forced into it. We don't get a say whether we exist or not. So quite literally is force, right?
If you're upset about force, I do not want you taking your own life. But you're upset about people being forced. You lead by example and take your life.
Well, I
don't want you to take your life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I am actually leading by example, because I'm asking people to stop procreating, and that's what I've done. I haven't had any children, and I got a vasectomy, so I actually am leading by example.
Okay, but you're a white man doing that. If this
actually,
sign makes sense for anyone,
I identify as black.
That's cute.
I'm just joking with you.
But if this sign is legitimate for anyone, you know what I'm saying, man? This is like...
Well, you're an authentic eugenicist. I'm an antinatalist. Eugenicists think that some people should have kids and other people shouldn't.
Is it true, though, that if they're the ones who are going to be having the most kids regardless, they're not going to...
Wait, do I know you?
I said, hey, Leaf.
I thought you did.
Yeah,
It took me a while. You look a little different, but...
Well, aren't they going to be the ones who are least likely to take this message to heart?
Well, yeah, we should prioritize existing life.
White folks have already taken that message to heart.
No, I don't
for
think,
whatever
well,
reason.
I mean, I disagree with that. I think
you can't disagree with it.
No, I do disagree, because
it's
I don't
not
think...
an opinion thing.
I think that a lot of people don't have kids, not for the reason that they think it's unethical, but maybe because they think that life is better off for themselves without, like, their child free. We're saying it's actually the act of procreation itself is unethical for the potential said unborn human, right? Because you're forcing someone into a situation. Now, I'm saying, like, I agree, there's a lot of these other groups of people that are like, their rate of reproduction is much higher. I agree with that, but I'm saying that's all. that's also probably because they're less likely to agree with these messages anyway. And that's just my thought on it.
We hold these signs everywhere. So you know, Boston's a very diverse city, so there's people of all kinds of backgrounds who are seeing our signs.
Right.
If we ever are in a place that's all white people, it's just a coincidence. We don't target a place because it's all white people. We just want to go for one, wherever there's humans, and two, wherever there's lots of humans, lots of foot traffic.
And having that, it sounds like, okay, I'll switch to something else.
And also, just so you know, like, a lot of people do disagree with us, including a lot of white people.
Okay.
Most of the people that we have conversations with, they're actually trying to argue with us. They're not saying they agree. We do get a lot of support as well. I don't want to, you know, forget to say that.
Right.
But we are trying to convince white people, black people, anything you want to name. We try to convince all of them equally to not procreate. Especially also
about people being forced into this world.
Right.
What's the angle on that? I mean, are you being sympathetic towards people in poverty and it's that sort of thing? Or what's the angle with that? Are you saying people are forced?
Well, that's just the term I use because a lot of people don't think of it that way. Most people haven't ever heard it said like that before. So I'm just trying to get people to think more critically about procreation. I think that's a good way to do it because then some people could be like, oh, yes, we are forced. And a lot of people say, oh, yeah, I didn't get a say into coming into the world. And I think that's just really wrong to do to someone else, especially when we can think about it and have conversations like this. We're not living, well, you know, many of us are not living our life on autopilot. We can kind of like, you know, take a moment to pause and actually think about what procreation is and what we are imposing onto someone when we I could say bring them into the world, because we are, you know, gambling with someone's life. We don't know what their life is going to be like. We don't know what kind of person they're going to be. We don't know what their life satisfaction is going to be. Many people do wish they were never born. A lot of people have suicidal ideation.
Sure.
You know,
but those people that have suicidal thoughts, my view is not that if someone's saying they wish they'd never been born, that's a reality situation. That it's not like, yeah, gee whiz, you really shouldn't have been born, you damn loser. No, I wouldn't want to give that message to them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's, my message would be, hey, you have a unique value, you know, you're a little snowflake, you have a unique value to you. Just go for a good walk and just, you know, live a healthy life.
Yeah.
You know, and I try to give them some good ways to get up. You know,
yeah, it's good. It's always good to try to inspire people to become more fulfilled with the lives that they're currently living.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, people can still do everything right: exercise, diet, social relationships, the job they want, etc., etc. And it still doesn't guarantee that they're going to be happy that they were born. You know,
hit by a bus.
Yeah, anything can happen to someone too at any time. So
there's like any number of negative lotteries that everyone is entered into, no matter what, and they all have to have a winner. So we're saying like we shouldn't be gambling with people's lives, especially when we can't receive consent from them to be brought here.
And then the larger part of our message is actually let's help who already exists. There's so many humans and non-human animals alike that are in need of much better lives. For example, the foster care system has over 400,000 children in it right now, just in the US alone. There's millions of orphans around the world. And you could just kind of go on and on listing different types of life that's in need. So I think since they already exist and they have real needs that need to be met/improved, I think they should be prioritized over someone who doesn't even exist yet and therefore doesn't have any needs.
It sounds like you're sort of celebrating people's depression, is what I'm saying.
No, I'm not even depressed. There's a lot of people who decide not to have kids for reasons that have nothing to do with depression. And a lot of people who have had children are depressed.
We're doing the opposite. We're trying to say, look, this is a problem. That's something bad that can happen to someone. Like, we shouldn't be bringing people to a place where that can happen to them.
We're trying to prevent people from having to endure bad experiences, you know?
Wait, you're trying to get people to have
We're trying to
bad
prevent.
experiences?
Yeah, we're trying to prevent people from having to endure bad experiences because
That's
any number of bad experiences can befall you once you come into existence.
Yes, that's life. Life is full of good and evil.
Right, but life can also be not imposing that on someone else. We have a choice, especially in this country.
But that's a condition of life. Is that you run into struggles, you run into bad stuff. I was in a
Right,
car
but
accident.
that's our-
how I
that's
lost
our-
my teeth. But It's
Okay.
not like oh shit, I had a bad experience. Just keep moving. In
Yeah,
life,
I
man.
understand that. You got to keep moving since you're already living right now, but you don't have to impose that on someone else.
It's not an imposition. It's a gift.
It is an imposition. You can call it a gift all you want, but it's still an imposition at the end of the day.
No, it's not. If that's the place where you are, and I don't mean to talk shit. You're being a nice guy to me. I don't mean to put you
I
down.
think you're being
but
pretty nice overall. Don't worry about
What's
it.
it?
I said I think you're being pretty nice overall. You don't have to police your words too much.
Well, thank you. But if this is where you are, that you're saying life is an imposition, I think you need a little time to think things out.
Well, what is it
a
if it's not an
gift,
imposition?
man. It's a gift, and I don't mean that in like a flowery way. It's a gift.
Okay, well, usually when we give someone a gift, we give that to them depending on their interests, desires, needs, wants, their personality. None of that exists when we're not here. So you literally are imposing something onto someone. And there's so many aspects of life that you would not attach gift to. You know, when someone gets raped, we don't tell them, well, you know, that there's a gift to that. When someone, you know, gets cancer or heart disease or diabetes, we don't tell them there's a gift aspect to that. When someone
it's part
is
of the
bullied in
difficulty
school,
of life.
when someone is bullied in school, we don't tell them that life was a gift. People only say life is a gift when they're having conversations like this. Of course, they say beyond that too, but it really is an imposition. They're trying to put an optimism cover over reality. You know.
No.
You are imposing.
It's not about it's about learning about the struggles in life. It's not
Right,
like
but
optimism
why?
versus pessimism. You know, that's too simplistic. Life is a gift, and you run into all sorts of obstacles, and you learn from them.
So
you know that just when you were like in high school, you run into all sorts of shit, and you learn from it.
So if
you learn about dealing with people, you learn from negative things.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's part of life. You learn from that.
that's instrumental. So we're saying the harms and the struggle is intrinsically bad. Instrumentally, it can be good now that we're here, but it doesn't mean it's something we should impose on someone who doesn't already have a need or a desire to be fulfilled.
But once mom and dad had the kid, then it's really within that child's a new child separate from mommy and daddy. And if you're going through your whole life thinking mommy and daddy impose this on me, you're in the wrong place psychologically. You need to realize whatever mommy and daddy did, and I don't want to dwell on it when they were having sex and procreating, whatever they did, I now am a new person, and this is my life. I wasn't imposed upon. It's just that's how you come into this world.
But the reality is it was imposed on us because, like I said, we didn't have a say. Now, like what you were saying before, we don't have to think about that and look at it from that angle all the time if we don't want to. I don't obsess over that because I would just really destroy my quality of life if I did. But at the end of the day, we got to call things what they are. Well, we don't have to. People can choose to be delusional if they want. But it is an imposition, okay? Because it only wouldn't be if someone had a say. If they don't have a say, it's an imposition.
And even then, it can be an ultimatum which is imposed. So, we face all kinds of ultimatums, and in a way, those are impositions of sorts. We're just saying, someone who doesn't exist can't be harmed, so why put them in a position where they can be harmed?
Because you quite literally are putting them in harm's
philosophy,
way.
though, is ultimately a pro-suicide philosophy.
No.
Yeah, because this is an anti-life philosophy. I'm not getting into the abortion.
It's an anti-birth philosophy.
Yeah, it's don't come into this world.
Yeah.
It's an anti-life philosophy. It's a no more life.
Right.
stop having kids.
We're talking
you
about
might as well-
priorities.
You might as well say, hey, trees, stop growing trees.
No.
So we just have cement buildings.
No, that's not what we're saying at
hey,
all.
Tree is not a
Hey,
sentient.
farmers market on Tuesday, stop planting fruits and vegetables.
We're not saying that at all.
Oh, yeah.
No, we are. This is
Because
stop
just as
having
the
kids,
fruits
not
and-
stop growing fruit.
No, hold on. Just as the fruits and vegetables are life, right? They're alive.
not sentient.
They just as I'm not making jokes.
This says kids,
Wait.
not kiwis.
But
Kids,
wait,
not
wait.
kiwis.
There seems to be a confusion.
I'm not confused.
I know, but we have a difference in opinion about the symmetry breaker, which is sentience. We care about preventing suffering, which can only happen to sentient life.
We're not against bananas. We're not against string beans.
Look, if
But
the
you're
world
against
wanted to
human
be,
beings.
if the world wanted to be
Like,
completely,
life for the bananas is good. Life for the trees is good. Life for the humans.
it's
too much struggle.
well, first of all, they don't have a subjective experience. They don't have a brain and a central nervous system. We're talking about beings that have the ability to have emotional states and perceive what is going on around them.
That's why your time on life, or if you believe in reincarnation, or several times in life, have a value to them. Because you have all these other things you're talking about that the banana and the tree don't have. That's why life has value, so that you go through a mix of pleasure and pain. And to say,
But for
don't
what?
do that,
For what?
you know,
What? For
holy
what?
Smokes, what?
For what?
What way?
So that we go through a mix of pleasure and pain, but for what?
We wanna prevent unnecessary suffering and pain, and we want to alleviate suffering and pain that already exists. That's why I was saying prioritizing our existing life, which is a pro-human message.
You know the song Sunshine and Rain?
Probably.
Sunshine and Rain, right? There's a lot of songs in that kind of theme. Why do they speak to the soul, man?
I don't know.
'Cause it's about life, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, well, this is about life too.
So think about some of the best songs that you've ever heard growing up, with
Right.
rock, R&B, whatever.
Yeah.
Why do they speak to the soul, man?
I don't know.
Because they're about struggle.
Okay, well, we
Well,
don't. It's
but
not
see-
good to force someone to struggle if they're not
It's
already
like
here.
that we're not going to convince each other right here and now.
That could be good for someone who's already here, but why put someone in that position that need not be?
You listen to like R&B, stuff like that? Rock music?
Like some old school R&B, maybe.
Yeah.
Depends. Yeah.
Ska, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Some of those best songs, if you listen to the lyrics and all that, right, whatever, Led Zeppelin, all the old rock, all that stuff. You listen to the lyrics. It's about learning through suffering.
Well, that's instrumental. That's not
No, it's not.
think,
What do you mean? It's because it's instruments. It's lyrics.
no.
man, about life.
I'm talking. This is a philosophical term. When we're talking about pain or suffering or whatever, there's intrinsic and there's instrumental, right? So
It's too college gobbledygook.
No. It's simple. What I'm saying is that overall, intrinsically, harm and suffering is bad. And anyone that disagrees with me, I tell them to go sit on a nail and see how they like it. Then instrumentally, because we're here and we need to get from point A to point B, unfortunately, a lot of the time we can't do that without some form of pain or suffering. So that's instrumental. So it means instrumentally it serves a purpose while we're here, but intrinsically we shouldn't be putting people in a position where they have to feel pain or suffer at all.
Well, then, both of you guys go jump in the Charles River tonight and take your lives. I don't
Well,
want you to do that.
listen.
But
if
you're gonna
it
go
was
with this sign,
okay,
then
I'm gonna.
then you
I
lead
think
by
that there's.
example.
I think that's an oversimplification because.
To you how we are leading by example. We both have vasectomies. We both aren't having children, and that's what we're advocating for. We're not advocating
really
for.
feel bad for
We're
you.
not advocating for people to take their lives. We're advocating for people to not start lives on behalf of someone else in the future.
So here's the thing about suicide, Leaf, is that you're oversimplifying the fact that people have a natural biological drive to fear death, right? And we're also conditioned by society to fear death through things like religion and the whole idea of an afterlife. So that plays a role in the fact that you can want to die, but be extremely scared to take your own life. And then when you're stuck where you're hating life, but fearing death so much that you can't bring yourself to do it, you're oscillating. You're in like a torture chamber,
So you
which
want
is
people to take their lives?
Well,
You
wait,
want people to have
no,
the
you're not letting me.
courage to take
No,
their
don't
lives?
put words in my mouth. I'm saying that that's an awful place to put people in. I don't want people to take their lives who don't want to die. If they're scared and they want something better, I want life to be better for them. I also am an advocate for the right to die, so maybe life is too hard for them, but they don't want to do something scary like hang themselves or jump in a river, and so they can be medically supervised and have a peaceful, dignified death. Now, that's not saying I think everybody should go kill themselves. I'm saying a life can be worth continuing. It doesn't mean a life is worth starting. That's all I'm saying. All right. It's kind of myopic to think that it's as simple as just killing yourself. It's not that simple. It's hard. You're stuck. Some people feel very stuck, and they wish they had never been put in the position to have to make that decision.
So, both of you guys, growing up, the art that you were exposed to, whether it's pop culture like rock music and stuff like that, or it's stuff that you had in school, literature that you had to read, poetry, whatever, the stuff that spoke to you, it doesn't mean no artist, there's not a single artist that ever took their lives. Ernest Hemingway took his life and go on and on.
Many do every year.
What's that?
Many do every year.
Yeah, but many don't. And when you
A lot of art comes from pain,
when you listen to the lyrics of the best music, and you read the best literature, it's all about suffering. And it's not the author or the musician saying, I wish I'd never been born. It's so much of it's about the wisdom of suffering and learning from suffering. That's how we learn, man. You can go to the macho thing and no pleasure, no pain. It's like a macho weightlifter thing. But that's the truth. No pleasure, no pain. Or no pain, no gain. That's what I'm getting ahead of myself. No pain, no gain, right? Right?
But if you don't exist,
no
there's
pain,
nothing
no
to
gain.
gain.
What's that?
If you don't exist, there's nothing to gain. Like you're offering an antidote for a disease that people need not have. You know?
But
there's a spectrum of suffering. There's so much there's so many forms of suffering that no human ever now or in history should have ever experienced. And when there's some suffering that's a lot less than what I'm talking about, but when you bring someone into the world, you are subjecting them to all forms of possibilities of suffering, and that's just not right. That's not what a caring person would do. It's not caring, it's not loving to bring someone into the world where they're subjected to all these potentially terrible experiences.
But then it's an anti-life position, and then you don't want the trees to grow, and you don't want the fruits.
No, you're putting words in our mouth. We don't have we said anything about trees?
No,
it's anti-life.
You're being disingenuous.
Life, okay? We're not against botanical because it's not sentient. You have to make the differentiation between sentient life and non-sentient life. Sentient life has the capacity for pain and suffering, which is what we care about. It's what we're concerned about.
And also, if you don't have kids, you tell people not to get. You're saying to a world of potential new life that they can never experience the fun of life, the enjoyment of life, and the game of learning through a life experience. But they can't do that either.
That's not a bad thing as long as they're not suffering and they don't feel pain.
It's only a bad thing if they come into the world and they don't get to have these joyful, fun experiences. But if they don't come into the world, they're not missing out. You can't be deprived.
How did you determine which lives should be allowed to live and which should not?
We don't determine that. That's why our signs are pointed at every single human who walks by us.
Right. So it's what do they call those? Daisy cutter bombs, where they boom out everything.
No, we're not doing that.
No, don't laugh. That's a daisy cutter bomb.
You're comparing my sign to a bomb?
Yes, it's
Are you
a daisy
serious?
cutter bomb. It blows away everything.
So
it doesn't let anyone live.
Okay. I've allowed you to say way too much disingenuous stuff for one day.
It's easy for you to laugh because it's 2 against 1 here. It's easy for you to laugh. It's not. You're smarter than laughing.
I'm laughing because this is absurd.
No.
I'm laughing because your arguments are absurd.
Okay.
And when you came up to us, your first arguments were eugenicists. So you introduced yourself.
Did I call you a eugenicist?
No, you did. You called yourself. You introduced yourself as a eugenicist.
You said
you said your sign should not be pointed at white people.
Eugenicists, but you said we should be aiming these at brown people, basically.
That's eugenics.
They are, whether you know it or not. Of course they are.
They're aimed at everyone. That's why you came here, because it was aimed at you, and you're white, right? Obviously you're white.
I didn't do, because of all my feelings are hurt? Of course not.
I didn't say anything
'Cause I
about
think
your
it-
feelings
I
being
think
hurt.
It's stupid as, I think what you're doing is stupid as shit. I'm
Okay,
not,
well,
I'm
that's
not insulting
good.
you. You guys are obviously intellectual types. I'm not calling you a dummy, but this stuff's stupid as shit.
Okay, well, I hope you can come up with a good argument against it one day, because you didn't tonight.
I start getting close, and you just, that's absurd.
No, because you started talking about trees and how we're telling people to kill themselves.
Yes,
and
because that's life.
uh,
And if you're going to do an anti-life thing,
this isn't anti-life.
of course it is.
When
Stop bringing life into this world. Of course it's an anti-life.
we love trees. He has trees all around his house. He doesn't cut them down.
Now you're joking around.
No, I'm serious.
Look, I'm not against botanical life. I just don't think we should be bringing more sentient life into the
Stop
world.
bringing vintage clothes into this world.
Yeah.
How many kids did you have?
How many do I have?
Yeah.
I have none, and it's a regret of my life.
Oh, so you're anti-life.
Let me tell you something.
No, I'm a foolish human being. It's a regret
leave.
of my life that I never got married.
Leave. We should have stopped in the early 70s when everything went awry, you know. So, but
I was
I'm
born
talking
in
about
71. Maybe I'll look a little
I'm
older.
talking about all the clothes, you know. Like after that, it was just, you know, if we had we got the novelty from we know each other from the vintage clothing world.
Oh, okay.
So, like
Bobby.
yeah. You know,
if you're saying people shouldn't have to suffer, but if you don't let new life into this world, you're also what you're saying is people should not have the right to experience the enjoyment of life.
No, I already
the learning process.
I already explained that to you. You can't be deprived if you don't exist. Plus, when I mentioned prioritizing existing life, then you can make those lives better and therefore bring more joy and happiness and fun to their lives. So that would be the proper thing to do if you really care about humans.
Are you saying that some lives aren't worth living? You're saying some lives aren't worth living?
No, I'm saying it's not ethical to force someone into the world, and that if you want to be a parent or a caretaker to human lives or animal lives, let's prioritize who we already have, because a lot of people are in need of much better lives than what they currently
You're saying
have.
that some lives aren't worth living.
some lives may not be worth.
Didn't Hitler say the same thing?
I don't know, but either way, it doesn't
come on,
matter.
go with the I don't know.
Didn't Hitler breathe the same oxygen you're breathing?
Oh
No, I'm talking about philosophy. Of course he did.
shit. So it's possible some lives may not be worth continuing, but that would be up to the individual. We're saying that lives aren't worth starting. They could be worth.
How about you say Jewish people stop having kids?
All right,
Go,
see, now you're
go hang out.
All right,
in
well, now you're straw manning us. And by the way, I'm a Jewish person, so, and I think everyone should stop.
We,
But, you know, it's like-
we can't determine if someone's life is going to be worthwhile or not. It's a total mystery. It's a total gamble. You know, why?
So just don't let any of them pass into the world.
Oh, we're not controlling anyone. People are going to do what they want. We're just hoping to maybe influence or, you know, persuade some people to, and if that saves some people from grief, torment, and pain and suffering, and having to deal with the hardships of this earth, then I think that's a good thing. I think that's a win.
What would you say that you see on TV, these wounded veterans ads, right? Where some guy who was a big, strapping, strong dude to start with and went off to war in Afghanistan or something. He lost 3 of his limbs and burns to his face, but he's holding on because he's got the determination of life. What would you say to him?
Well, that's what we all want. We want the best for everyone who already exists. We don't want anyone's life to be shittier than it has to be, or than
That's a lot of
currently
suffering.
is.
Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, he's endured a lot of suffering. We all have the power, or at least most of us do. We all have the power to make the best of our situations, no matter what we've been through and no matter what we're going through right now.
But now you're
Wait, you
speaking
remember-
against your sign.
Leaf.
Of course you are.
You remember what Lou Gehrig said?
No.
He said, "I consider myself the one of the luckiest men who ever lived." Right.
Right.
He was one of the first people diagnosed with ALS or something. You know, he basically became paralyzed
Right.
and stopped breathing one day over a slow process.
Right.
So it's a terrible disease. I mean, I don't know if he was being sincere. He was addressing like the stadium, but he said, "Oh, I consider myself the luckiest man." Would you, if you could wave a magic wand, would you give someone Lou Gehrig's disease just because he considered himself lucky? Would you just like give someone Lou Gehrig's disease?
No, here's the better question to me. No, hold on. The better question to me is, would I say that he should have never lived because look at the suffering he went through? I would never say that. I would say God bless him for coming into this.
Well, his
world.
question was actually very irrelevant because what he was talking about is a form of suffering if you get that disease, and you keep saying that suffering is good and that people should be born to go through that.
And that person considered it, like you said, like worthwhile, but that doesn't mean that you would just snap your fingers and give someone ALS.
Of course not.
Right, because you recognize that intrinsically it's
you're
bad. Just because
he never should have come into this life.
I'm saying his
because look how he
if
suffered.
his parents were doing the ethical thing, they would not have brought him
Would
here.
you go right to his face had you been alive at the same time as both?
I would
adults
say-
at the time,
I would tell
and
him-
Say I wish you had never been born.
No, I would say to him, I would say, you're a very good baseball player. I think your parents did something unethical, but since you're here, thank you for doing what you do.
We don't tell anyone.
If I were
unless
Lou
they're
Gehrig and I heard that from
You
you,
would
and
punch
I'm not
me in the
threatening you
face,
guys at all,
right?
I can do anything about it. If I were Lou Gehrig and I heard that from you,
Yeah.
I'd punch you in the flipping face.
Wow, that just shows how much of a violent person
No,
you are.
'cause
Why
the
I wouldn't
level
want to
of
bring someone.
disrespect is
Why
really
I wouldn't want to bring someone here where you can't have a conversation or be honest or have free speech without violence. Like people are gonna be that you're making a good point for why it's not good to bring someone here because you say the wrong thing even
No,
if
it's
it
not about
even
saying the wrong
even
thing.
even if it's with respect and it's in a discussion where the person asked, right? Because I'm not going to go up to someone necessarily and just randomly say that. If they come up to me when I'm holding a sign and they ask, I'm going to tell them. And if they would punch me, that's more evidence for me that this is not a good world to bring people into.
Separate conversation. Do you ever think there's anything? I'm not a big talker. I'm just kidding. Do you ever think there's any situation where it's right to punch someone in the face?
Sure.
Of course, right. Like if you were standing with your mom and someone just insult your mom.
No, I don't even think that's
Well,
okay.
we're
I
doing-
think
we
that
haven't
if someone is actually posing a real threat, then you
Okay.
can use physical
But if I
force
were-
to defend
If
yourself.
I were Lou Gehrig and you gave
Yeah.
me this message that I should not have been born because look at what I suffered. I mean, like,
I didn't s- yeah.
really, I'd be on the edge of like, you punk, you know?
No, actually, it would be like, I don't think anyone should have been born, but I think that when people are here, a lot of people have lives that are they deem worth continuing, and I think it's a good thing, especially if they're doing something that makes a lot of people happy. He clearly made a lot of people happy. That doesn't mean that his parents did something ethical. That just means that they were lucky enough, or we were lucky enough to get something good out of it. Now, that's one viewpoint. You could also look at it as, okay, he entertained a bunch of people, and as you know, we've had this conversation before, I'm vegan, so I would say, but he also contributed to the suffering of a lot of animals. So was that really worth it? You want a sticker?
Yes? Is it free?
Yeah,
Oh, I got it.
Yes. Thank you.
you're welcome.
So your ideal would be an Earth with no people on it.
No suffering.
But that's impossible. So it'd be an Earth with no people on it would be your ideal.
I mean, I with no suffering. I'll just say that with no suffering, because I don't know what's possible. It's also impossible to expect an Earth with no people until we actually go extinct, which inevitably we will go extinct at some point. Every species does. But an Earth with no sentient life is most likely impossible until our star dies. You know?
What if, I think generally people hold science, in an ideal world, they want everyone to go along with what the science said.
But that's impossible. Humans don't carry the same opinions about literally anything.
So, for example, my son could say, "Stop raping," right? And for the most part, everyone would agree, right? But that doesn't mean that it's going to end all rape. In fact, there's going to still be a ton of rapes that occur, despite the fact that everybody or the majority of people agree.
Well, aside from what's realistic, don't you kind of, in your world, your ideal is for maybe like 90% of people to take this to heart.
Oh, of course.
Right, so
That's
that you
not
have
going to happen, but that would be ideal.
you'd have a planet, even like a planet with just like 10,000 people.
What about Mars? Okay, what
That'd be good in
about
your view?
Leaf? How about Mars? Do you mourn the non-existent sentient beings on Mars? Are you sad that there's no sentience there?
I'm concerned about Mars.
Right, exactly. So you wouldn't. Why be concerned about the people who never came into existence in the first place?
I don't know, man. It's just, life is about suffering, and that's how you learn. I mean, didn't you experience that? It's like a teenager in high school. If you go
We had this
shit and
conversation.
You deal with it.
We literally had this. We literally had this.
Stronger.
Going around.
We talked about intrinsic versus instrumental. We already discussed
You got all the
that.
good jargon, man. No, seriously, in all seriousness.
I don't think there's a good argument against what we're standing here for.
I'm just asking you about your personal experience. I'm not asking you about, I'm not asking for your social security number. But I'm just like you when you were in high school, man, growing up. I'm sure you ran into some shit with people dealing with shit, and you deal with it. And once you're done dealing with it, never 100%, you deal with it, you feel stronger. You've learned something. You've grown.
Yeah, it's nice when stuff like that can happen, but there's no need to subject someone to a life where they have to go through struggles.
No need. That's life. That's what this world's all about.
But life can also be what you did by not what you and I both have in common. We both have common ground with the fact that neither of us forced someone else into the world. So that's life too. Life
But
doesn't
there's
have
no
to be
forcing.
procreation.
You're giving someone else the gift that you have.
You're forcing someone into the planet,
You're giving them the gift to learn the same wonderful lessons that you learned, to develop.
You guys want stickers? Oh, okay. Well, you can just listen to our conversation if you want. Sorry, I saw you guys like looking at stuff, so I thought I would offer you a sticker. But or you can, if he's done soon, you can ask him. But I mean, do you think?
It's a stupid sticker, but you're right.
Yeah, well, I don't agree.
Well,
I just thought
oh,
it had
okay.
to do
Well, if
with
you're gonna
life.
just throw it out, I can take it back. Or if you are gonna do something, you can hold
No,
on
I
to
think
it.
it's valuable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just don't want any of it to go to waste. That's
Yeah,
all I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's fair.
But yeah, he's open for conversation right now. What were you saying?
Because
When new kids come into this world, they're being given the gift of going through those struggles, and to say, "Oh, you want people to live Lou Gehrig's disease?" It's a cheap shot.
You know, some people have terrible lives. That is not a gift.
That's not for you to say, like I'm saying with the Wounded Warriors thing on TV. That's not for you to tell them you shouldn't have been born because look what you.
We don't
suffered. That's
tell
for
anyone.
them and their
We don't
souls.
tell anyone they shouldn't be born. We tell people we think it's unethical to create new lives.
That's not for you to decide, man.
I didn't decide. They have their own decision. It's all voluntary and consensual. We're not stopping anyone from having kids. We're just trying to get people to think and make more considerate and compassionate choices.
Because this is.
You know what's a gift? Getting someone out of the foster care system and giving them a much better life. You could call that a gift. But
even kids in foster care system, they're enjoying life. I didn't
no,
grow
they're
up
not.
with a silver spoon in my mouth.
How can you paint a broad brush over everyone who's in the foster care system and tell me that they're enjoying life? There's
you're painting a broad brush.
There's so much evidence against that.
You're painting with a broad brush, so that none of them should have been born.
I don't say that. I
Yes,
say
it
not. We're saying nobody should be creating new lives for other people. You know, that's what we're saying. No, we're saying no one would have been deprived had they not been born. It's totally okay to not be born.
Yeah, but by that philosophy, you're almost giving young mothers the right to kill their infant children.
We're not saying that. We're trying to prevent conception in the first place. We're not telling anyone they should kill anyone, whether it's themselves or other people. We're just saying stop forcing new beings to exist. Because we don't have to do that.
It's not a force system, it's a gift.
It's not. Okay, well, if you want to call it a gift, you can call it a gift all you want, but it's still force.
It's a gift.
It's okay.
Why don't you
Well,
go-
if it's not force, are they choosing to come into the world?
It's human life. It's a gift that you've been
Okay.
given.
You're just being disingenuous. You just won't admit that we're forced into the world when that actually is the reality.
You kind of enjoy what you're doing, the fact that you're
You know,
alive.
some children are born with diseases, addicted to drugs, all kinds of stuff. Is that a gift?
Right? What's that?
Is that a gift if you're born
The
with all
fact that
kinds
they're
of...
alive is a gift. That's correct.
So just as long as you exist, no matter what you're going through, it's a gift.
Yes.
Okay, well, I just don't think that makes any sense.
What's that?
I don't think that makes any sense.
Well,
You know, if you were-
really believe that,
If you were born
then-
a slave and you were a slave your whole life, would that be a gift?
if you really believe this, then it's your desire that all the Jews in World War II should have been burned.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
They
We're
certainly
saying
suffered.
everyone, it would have been best if everyone had just not been born. That's what we're saying.
If the ones that
If your
survived,
buddy Hitler wasn't born, wouldn't that be a good thing?
the ones that survived, do you think they had an easy time?
No, I never said that.
Well, they suffered.
But you're the one who likes
Wait, wait,
suffering.
wait.
You're the one
They-
who keeps advocating for creating new lives because
You're
they will
okay.
suffer.
You're okay with the Jews that survived. They sure suffered a whole hell of a lot, didn't they?
Well, I've already told you, both of us want the best for everyone who's already here. We don't want people to have more miserable and suffer-filled lives than what they have. We want the best for everyone.
So you're saying all
But the
those Jews-
best, we think the best is just to not
So you're
be
saying
born
all
at
those
all.
Jews never should have been born?
Everyone. We think it's best if no one was.
everyone. You're saying all those
I
Jews
don't
never
break.
should
I
have
don't
been
break
born.
it down to groups, but by religion or race or anything.
No. We're analyzing your philosophy.
You keep trying to do a gotcha kind of thing. I mean, it's not working.
Slow down. Slow down. You're saying that all those Jews never should have been born because they suffered during the Holocaust.
If their parents had never birthed them into the world, that would have been the best thing, I
So all
think.
those Jews never should have been born.
Yeah, and same with everyone else who was alive at that time, no matter if they,
all
no matter
those
what
Jews
their
never should
religion.
have been born.
Yes, and every other religion too,
All those Jews
and
never
all the
should-
atheists.
All you got now are jokes.
What are you talking
All
about?
you got are smirks and jokes.
I don't think so.
All you got are the smiley
I've been
face.
very serious the whole time.
No. Now you're doing the smiley face stuff.
Just because I think what you're saying is so absurd, that's why I'm smiling.
I'll apologize for this. I ate a stinky cigar last night, and I'm wafting the bad breath in your face.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
Okay, well I didn't even notice.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I think I won some points though. With the pretty girls were on my side.
Okay. Well, I
saw
told
that?
you there's lots of, yeah, and there's pretty girls who agree with this too. That doesn't matter. Just because you think someone's
I'm just
attractive
messing
doesn't, okay.
I'm just, but no, you're saying that those Jews never should have been born.
We're saying we think it would be best if everyone was never born. We think it's best to have never been. Like I said, you can't miss out if you're not born. You can't
You're in
can't,
such like a death culture.
you can't miss out on suffering or joy if you're never born, suffering or pleasure. And it's not a death culture because you can only die once you're born.
But
You know, once you bring someone into the world, they're going to die one day.
Experiencing the pleasure of life.
Well, if they're already alive, they should, but no one need come into existence to experience pleasures. Like I keep saying a million times, there's no missing out if you're not here. You can only
it's such a death culture, man.
It's not. Like I said, you can only die if you're born first. I have not killed anyone by not having children. I have not caused someone to one day die because I have not had children. Once you have a kid, they will at some point die. That is death culture.
So why are you telling other people what to do?
We're not. We're suggesting. We're telling people this
you're
is.
saying it's unethical.
Okay, so if we said stop raping on our sign, would you say that's telling people what to do in a bad way? Would you say that's a wrong message? We believe it's a harm. If you don't exist, you can't be harmed. So why are we bringing people here to be harmed? This is about compassion. If you believe in
people
hell,
are being harmed because of people like you. That's why.
oh
people are
really,
being
really,
harmed.
we're not bringing anyone here.
Yeah,
we're trying to improve people's
Having
lives. We're
kids has
trying to
nothing
tell
do with
people it's
being harmed.
What-
okay?
what's that?
Having kids has nothing to do with people.
yeah, if they can't be harmed if they're not brought into existence. You admitted that you would not want your children to go to hell, but if they're brought here, they can go to hell.
Into this
Talking,
world
dude,
so that
you
your
literally-
soul
whatever
can
you're
be
talking
tested
about literally
against
has
sin.
nothing to do
Who
with
said?
You have to have your soul tested. It's
I'm
part of the
saying, I'm
work.
just letting you
Oh,
know.
so-
we already talked to you long enough. Let's
All right, you
talk to
guys
this
are gonna
guy.
get karma for what you're doing.
So if karma was real, wouldn't
You guys are gonna
nothing
get-
bad ever happen?
Guess what? Neither one of us.
You guys want to do
No one
right,
would want you
see
for a
what
dad.
happens.
No one would want you for a dad. If people saw how you acted, no one would want you for a
God's
dad.
gonna punish you.
Nobody wants you for a dad, okay?
No, not if
Nobody wants you for a dad.
All the negative energy you're creating is gonna get mirrored right back on you.
Guess what? I can feel your negative energy.
Watch what happens. Yeah, it's your
Who
own-
would want you as a
it's your own
dad?
energy.
Who would want you as
Now
a
you're
dad?
feeling your own energy.
Yeah, well, either way, yeah, we would not want you as a father.
you
Please
guys
don't
are pieces
procreate.
of garbage.
You're a very mean person.
Yeah, your parents should have said that.
What if your kid agrees
You're
with
very
us?
hurtful.
What if your kid agreed with us?
Why don't you guys euthanize yourself if you want there to be less people?
What if your kid agreed
maybe
with
I
us?
will.
You guys euthanize yourself. Huh?
That's not
Why
what's.
don't you, go euthanize yourself right now.
Where do we go for that? Where do we go for that?
Jump off a building.
That's not euthanasia.
Yeah, you'll do a favor for the world. There'll be less
Do you
people.
think that is
Jump
a
off
nice
fucking
experience?
building.
Do you think that's a nice experience?
There'll be less people in the
Think
world.
that's
That's what you want.
compassionate?
Right? That's what you want.
think that's
what you want. That is what you want.
No, I don't think you know what I want.
You want there to be less people.
No, I don't
right?
want there to be less people.
Yes, you
I
do.
want people not
So
to
go
not to
euthanize
suffer.
yourself.
And people will be harmed if they're alive.
So what would you do if your child agreed with this? Would you tell your child to kill himself? All right, we've had to put up with a lot of jerkism tonight, so. Okay, you know what? I don't consent to talking to you any longer because I've already spent more than enough time with you. So, our time is over.
You're still on this recorded, so am I.
I already gave you plenty of my.
Give me any time.
I gave you at
You're
least.
not giving me
I
shit.
gave you at least 30 minutes.
giving
I don't
me shit.
consent to any more conversation with you.
Like the way the conversation's going.
Yeah,
on.
because you're absurd.
No. He's calling me names now.
No, I called you an adjective. I said you're being absurd. Okay, I already said I don't consent to talking to you any
You
longer.
already have your little bullshit games.
You're gonna give me nightmares, okay?
Your little punk, huh?
You're gonna give me nightmares.
Punk? You're a little smirky punk, huh? Yeah, you got the
You
smirk.
should have brought someone into the world. Look
You're
at all
a little smirky
the.
punk.
You sinned by not
You're
bringing
a
someone into the.
smirky punk. You're a couple of potheads, and you know it, man. You know it.
I haven't smoked pot since 2021.
Yeah,
okay?
well, it's been a lot of years have really destroyed that brain. That's why you're so
Dude,
fucking
your brain's already been destroyed by fucking superstition and bullshit. I bring
smoking the weed,
I
man.
bring logic to you,
It's
and you
rotted
you
your
have
brain.
to fucking divert and run
weed
away from.
has rotted
All right,
your
well,
brain.
your brain was rotten from the beginning. Get out of here. Leaf.
The weed has
Leaf.
rotted
Goodbye,
your
Leaf.
brain.
Goodbye,
buddy.
Leaf. Goodbye, Leaf.
The
I no
weed
longer consent
rotted
to
your
talking
brain.
to you.
The
Goodbye.
weed has
Goodbye.
rotted your brain, man.
Goodbye, Leaf. Give me personal space.
You know damn
Arm
well.
length.
I'm going to live stream you right now. If you don't go away, I'm going to live stream you and put you all over the internet. If you don't leave us alone.
It's a cheap shot, man.
Arm's length.
It's a cheap shot.
I'm going to live stream you if you don't leave us
You
alone.
little coward.
Hey, stay at arm's length, please.
We both told you we don't consent to talking any longer, so shoo. Holy shit, dude. It looks like he's coming back over here.
Okay.
Oh my god, here we go.
We're saying no, dude. We're saying no.
All you got is your
Arm's
camera.
length, arm's
You're a little
length.
fucking
Please stay
coward,
arm's
man.
length.
Hey, you're harassing me! You're harassing me! You're harassing me! You're harassing me! You're harassing me!
Before you get in trouble, because there are lots of videotapes, they'll have to do what they want. These are two people that they have their choice, they have what they think. There might be 1,000 people that think like you. These two people are out here doing what they want to do. Let them do that. Go on with your night. Go on with your night. Hold on. The minute they start talking with this shit, they're allowed to videotape. It's a cheap shot. Okay, I start arguing the cameras in my face. Listen, I have more to do tonight than what this is right now. There's a bunch of traffic. There's a bunch of people walking around. Just walk away. Let these two people think what they want to think. They're cowards. You can look at this shit. You can think what you want to think. They're fucking cowards. You can think. Sure. You can think what you want to cowards. Okay. Just walk away. Walk away. Walk away. Why do I have to walk away when this shit gets going? You just started putting your face in their phone and in their right towards their direction.
They were standing here peacefully. We told you 10 minutes ago we don't consent to talking to you any longer.
Why do I have to walk away? You don't have to walk away. You can stand right there if you want to, but please don't put your hands in their face and don't harass them. Why do I have to be subjected to this shit? You can be, I don't know. Why do I have to be subjected to this shit? If you don't want, they want to videotape, they can videotape. They can do what they want. They can think what they want, they can videotape. I start talking, I'm on video.
We told you 10 minutes ago we don't consent to talk to you any longer, and you kept harassing us. Then you cross the street and you come back.
If I argue, I'm harassing.
You want to keep embarrassing yourself?
harassing.
If you don't want to keep embarrassing yourself,
Let's not engage. Let's not engage.
Hey, honestly, why are you on their side, man? Honestly, I just saw you go after the phone. You didn't grab it, you didn't touch it, that's fine. And I'm not on their side. These are two people that can think what they want to think. You get to think what you want to think. Maybe there's a million people that think like you, and there's only two people that think like that. Just walk away. You
don't have to be videotaped. Just walk away.
Look at this shit.
You can do that. Walk. Just walk away. That's
You're
it.
trying to incite violence.
Hey,
You get a little,
they
you know,
don't.
an argument going, and it's in the, you know, I'm going to put you on my little, you know, Snapchat shit or whatever.
If you don't want that,
you're on
then,
my Instagram.
if you don't want that, then just walk away. Like, why do you want that? You
You're
don't
here
want that.
picking fights, man.
Just walk away.
You're here picking fights. You're not doing anything, man.
You didn't do anything wrong. Just leave.
You're picking
You
fights.
see, you're causing a crowd right now. Just walk away. Think what you want to think. Let them think. Just, you know what I mean?
That's
It's
the point.
as simple
This
as that.
shit. You're picking fights.
Yeah, anyone's allowed to videotape. You can videotape too.
You're picking fights. There are a couple of little faggots picking fights.
Whoa,
He just assaulted our stuff. Just kidding.